Don't mind, I'm just looking at myself in the mirror. I am a hot mess today. I just came back from walking the beach here in Tamarindo. I am sea-soaked and sandy from the waist down and just plain old vanilla sweaty from the waist up. I got hauled out of bed early this morning to go walk the beach. If you don't know me, I'm Meyer. I write for Theos for nearly 10 years for No Longer Quivering, and I admin No Longer Quivering about 18 months before that. So all of that is to say, I have a couple of really good songs this morning. Sadly enough, one of them involves internet drama. So I'm just going to deal with that one first and get it out of the way. Get it completely out of the way. Okay, last night I went to Real Entertainment's chat for like 5 seconds. I didn't actually go in and speak. I just typing like everybody else comments. Yeah, I think I'm done with other creators right now, with the exception of a handful like Aaron and Tina and Dottie. Why? Well, I went in there last night because this topic was, were those pictures faked? With a Kleenex, posted a photo of the cops supposedly at her house. She's claiming that somebody called CPS on her for yelling at her child on a late live stream. And supposedly the picture was of that. Now I looked at the picture. It looks like something from one of the photo archives. And I did run a Google search on it and pulled up something very similar. So I don't know if that was actually her picture or she took one from Canva or wherever and altered it. But regardless, here's a couple things. A, I've worked in some capacity there. I know something about it. I've worked at children's residential treatment centers. And some of the tales that have been told about CPS investigations are just not at all how they go down. So I'm doubting every bit of the story. I went on Real's live stream last night and was typing and said that I didn't buy the story. And immediately a bunch of Katie supporters came in and were saying, oh, blah, 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 you're wrong, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I just left. Only days late, and it was guaranteed. Oh, gosh. Aaron, I hope that's so. I hope they arrive soon. So Real's new audience has decided that anybody that tries to hold without a box of Kleenex feet to the fire is crazy. And then this morning I had something on one of my comments somewhere where someone wanted to know why we were all so angry at her. I tried to explain that there was a long history of lying and backstabbing and just generally bad behavior and thievery of content. There's been some thievery of content going on from her with others. So I've seen that. I've experienced it firsthand with her. So there it is. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I believe her story is wrong. I have a lot of PS story is false. Almost all of them rooted into my experience, my years working in children's residential treatment centers and national CPS offices and that licensing offices and that sort of thing. So there is that, Aaron. Your prescriptions, oh my God. I'm trying to decide, I'm going to the States on Wednesday. I'm trying to decide, do I go and buy a year's worth of my asthma meds? Because I can't get that particular one here. It's very effective. I can get it in the States. It's going to require me going to the doctor and then buying a year's supply of the tubes. So there's that. So I feel you totally, because I'm trying to figure out, do I get these filled here or do I wait and go to the States and get them filled? Seems to be 6 of one to half dozen of the other. And I hope they deliver your meds, Aaron. I hope they do. I'm feeling a little bit better, but I'm not 100%. I'm still, see how pale I am, even after going walking in the sun this morning for a long time. So I believe it's faked. I have my reasons for believing it's faked. I want Amanda Pants to explain it because she has a lot more experience, recent experience than I have in child abuse investigations. And like I said, there's just so many things that ring red flags for me in her description of it. And I know she has only a passing acquaintanceship with the truth. So who knows at this point? I still think it's false. And I'm going to continue to say that no matter what they say. Still seeing my emails to RX. Oh my goodness. And you're in Florida now, where they have some really strange rules on some of those prescriptions, because my friend Cindy Kunzman of Under Much Grace has had her hands full with Florida, where she's been living there, trying to get her husband's meds filled, because he's got, I guess it's restless leg and something else. And he's got a whole lot of prescriptions that he takes for a variety of things, and it's not always easy to get them filled in Florida. Which is funny, because Florida has the reputation for being the pill mill of the world. That and West Virginia. Pain medications out the wazoo. No, you're not. This is not. So yeah, there's that. It's a concern. It's a valid concern. And yeah, so anyway, it has come out, I've seen the papers on it, so I know it's legitimate, that the federal prosecutors in the Josh Duggar case have offered him a plea deal. 10 years for exchange to pleading guilty and allocating. Now, every time you have to confess guilty, almost always in a deal they request that you allocate, that you give them all the details of how you committed the crime, when you committed the crime, all of that. I suspect with Josh, they want to flip him and give him a minimal sentence so that they can go after whoever it was that he got the stuff from. I mean, clearly they know where he got the stuff from, but hopefully that's what they're after, is they want the guy up the chain and the guy up the chain from him. That would be the only thing that makes any kind of sense as to why they would even offer him a deal. Now, Josh is a special kind of Duggar stupid. I'm just going to call it like I see it. He is, his daddy has bailed him out of every single trouble he's been in, to the point where old man Jim Bob Duggar, and I can't say old man, he's younger than me. When it came out about Josh and his sisters, Jim Bob went to Megyn Kelly and gave Fox News an exclusive interview about the whole thing and exposed the names of 2 of the victims, and threw the victims very firmly under the family bus, ka-ching, like roadblocks, by having them go on camera and talk about their experiences. And my heart was broken for those girls, especially Jill. Jess, it seems like kind of a hard nut that nothing bothers her, which makes me wonder what kind of trauma that poor child has been through. But Jill seemed absolutely broken by it. And to me, that was beyond cruel. Her parents did that to her to save the reputation of their beloved eldest son. So there's that. And I, as a parent, I can't imagine doing that. I can't imagine sacrificing all of your other children for the eldest. So where do we go from here? Since we've seen Jim Bob do all kinds of weird wrestling to come up with what he thinks is covering up of everything that Josh has done, is excusal. I don't think there's going to be any going to Reformers Anonymous, any of that. Unanimous, I can't remember the name of the place exactly, where he went last time. The first time he went to a Bill Gothard IBLP facility where the treatment was Bible and construction work. Then he went to Reformers Anonymous, and it was Bible verses and construction work. And that type of faith, and that type of, I'm going to call it fundagelical because it's part fundamentalist, part evangelical, and that type of fundagelical, they don't believe in treatment for mental illness. They don't believe that people can have mental illnesses. They think it's always the devil. It's always, 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 always. depressed, you're selfish, and the devil has got a hold of you. Do X, Y, and Z, the devil has got a hold of you. There is no personal responsibility, just like there is zero treatment. Unless you're a woman and you get the entire bulk of them stuck on you for all of it. Like maybe you're wearing your shorts above your knees and making some man lust. I mean, I'm sitting here today in a shirt that would have gotten me in trouble at my former church because it's definitely, as Jill Rodriguez says, sluttish. Cheers, Jill. Why? Because I'm exposing my elbows and my upper arms, and a bra strap might slip out and some man might lust, and then a whole lot of them will have to scream Nike and look at their shoes. If all it takes is a simple slip bra strap to send you into uncontrollable fits of lust, run, don't walk to your nearest psychiatric office and get treatment for that. That is not a normal state of being. Men are not animals who can't control their lust, even though evangelical theology says that they are little better than animals in that regards, even while they're supposed to be leader kings of all the females in their life. We see how they look at this and what they think about it. Jinger Duggar Vuolo, I don't watch her show, so I don't know how her last name is pronounced. Got baptized in Grace Community Church in Los Angeles by John MacArthur. Now, I've seen a ton of places that are screaming out that John MacArthur is a hardcore, senior brain is so hard to take, a hardcore Calvinist. He does believe in some aspects of Calvinism. I'm just going to throw that out there. There is some Calvinism going on there, but that is not the entire bulk of it. When people who have never been involved in these things decide they know all about it and they talk about it, here's the thing. They give you not a bird's eye view, not even a snapshot. They are giving you like, you remember the story about the elephant and all the blind men that were feeling it, and they all thought, one thought the elephant was long and skinny, the other thought it was this and that. That's kind of what they're doing when somebody who's never been part of that world starts talking about it. They can only give you the tiniest little sliver of what it actually is. I was a member of a church that was part of Grace Presbytery, that was part of a loosely affiliated group of churches in Virginia, that was part of a loosely affiliated group of churches nationwide, Grace Presbytery. As I've said several times, my pastor went to the college there. He went to the Masters Seminary to get his PhD, and he was going back and forth to Los Angeles on a regular basis and attending that church and carrying a lot of the theology out. But like I've said, and this is true of our church, and I know this is true of MacArthur's church too. These guys are all interrelated in some weird ways, and they all carry pieces of theology out to each other to lesser and greater extents. The church I attended believed in the same thing that Bethel Redding believed in, even though we weren't really part of their church circle. We were still loosely affiliated with them and believed in Randy Clark and his global, I forgot what he even called this thing, his global thing, he said, and his church at Harrisburg. We were loosely affiliated with that. We were loosely affiliated with his church in Wilmington, North Carolina. We were loosely affiliated with a lot of these places, and then we carry bits and pieces and chunks of the theology out. And that's what I see going on at the church there with John MacArthur. It's not a purely Calvinistic view. Shoot, I don't even think that John Piper is 100% Calvinist, much less Doug Wilson or some of the others. This is the problem you run into when you go to these churches. When you go to these churches that are not affiliated with a national charter, there's no state oversight, there's none of this. You get this loosey-goosey, well, we're going to do it this way, and the next week it's like, that's sinful, we're not doing that. Oh, we're going to pray to run all the spirits and ghosts away. Oh, no, we're not doing that, that's demonic. You get these waves of theology that are carried bits and pieces, and that's what you have at John MacArthur's. It's not necessarily all Calvinists all the time. Not at all. Now, John MacArthur is more subtle than a lot of his theology because he's had his radio show and he's got his seminary there too at his college. So there is some, but to say it's entirely Calvinist is to miss the entire point. It's not entirely Calvinist. I'm going to have to add that type of theology to my description. Back at NLQ, I had to give a description of what was the difference between the New Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, and then the IBLP.